So for anyone who's new here, my name is Dan Weinberg and I'm a full-time YouTuber. I run two YouTube channels. I run this channel and I run another channel called The New Travel. Together, this is my full-time job. I'm fully employed by YouTube. Once a month I get a deposit in my bank account that says it's from Google because Google owns YouTube. I also work with brand sponsorships, mostly on my other channel. I have a small community on Patreon. I never really talk about it, but I have a few legends out there who decide to support me monthly. I sometimes get donations. I sometimes get a random company that reaches out and wants to license some of my footage because I travel and I have a lot of travel footage. You know, if some company reaches out and they want footage from Amsterdam or something like that, they might pay me for something I filmed in Amsterdam. And occasionally I'll do some freelance project. I'll film a wedding or something like that, some event in Montreal. But mostly it is YouTube that pays the bills, pays for my rent, pays for my food, pays for my travels. So I'm a full-time YouTuber and I have been for years. And for many people, this is a dream job, you know, especially for the younger generation. There's a lot of people who want to be full-time YouTubers. And, you know, I try to be grateful for the position I'm in. And I am grateful. It's provided me a life that 10 years ago or, 20 years ago when I was a kid, like I just never could have imagined. I've worked a lot of bad jobs in my life. I made a video recently talking about my experiences working at McDonald's. I should make another video talking about my experiences delivering pizzas because that was another rough job. Sometimes it was fun, but I've worked in kitchens. I've worked with shitty bosses who remind me I'm a piece of crap, and I always will be. I've worked landscaping where I was just lifting bricks in the hot sun and then my back hurts and I'm like 20 years old and I feel like an old man because my body's falling apart, I remember what it's like to work, an honest day's work as they call it. Though I'm convinced expressions like that are just kind of gaslighting ourselves into selling our body and our soul to some company and some boss who's making money off us. But that's another rant for another day. The point is, I haven't always been a YouTuber. And when I feel ungrateful or I feel stressed out or I feel like YouTube is driving me nuts, I try to remind myself, this isn't a real job. This isn't what those other jobs are like. And there's a lot of people in this world who pay the bills, who buy their food, who survive by doing very hard work. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Sometimes they have families, they have mouths to feed, they have people to look after. I don't have kids, I don't have a car, I don't have a wife, I don't have many of the responsibilities that other humans in this world have. So I'm able to pursue YouTube. That being said, YouTube is a very inconsistent job. I mean, YouTube is like sometimes making a video, it feels as though you're a street musician and you're just putting a hat out on the street and you're playing your music for the world. You're playing your guitar, you're singing your lungs out, and then at the end of the day, you check the hat and maybe it's like, oh my God, I made $200 today. This is amazing. I'm going to eat, I'm going to drink, I'm going to buy gifts for my friends. I'm so happy. Or maybe you check and there's like 25 cents in a used tissue and you're like, who put a tissue in my hat? So disrespectful. but you have nothing to show for it. In fact, you spent your time, you spent your money on that camera and that microphone, and YouTube actually has a cost to begin. Less so now when, you know, everyone can film on their, I'm literally filming this on my cell phone, so there isn't really a cost, but I have spent thousands of dollars on cameras like this. I mean, this right here is like a $2,000 to $3,000 camera setup, right? Not even including the microphones I have, the SD cards, the tripods, the different lenses. I mean, all that stuff. And here I am, not even using it. I'm just filming on my phone. That's one of the traps of YouTube. You tell yourself you need the gear, you need the tools, when really you don't need anything. You just need something to say, something to... I mean, you know, that's not entirely true. Like, let's say you're trying to set up a podcast or something. You do need, like, having good audio is very important if people are walking around listening to what you're saying. Or if you are, I don't know, like a beauty and makeup channel, like you want to have good lighting. If you're trying to look good, you want to look good. You can't just be like I just woke up here, you know, that I'm just drinking my coffee and I'm just setting up my phone. I can get away with that on this channel. Not every channel can. And that is one stressful part about YouTube. You know, you like today, I just got out of the shower and I was like, oh, should I dry my hair? Are people gonna think my hair looks stupid? Do I have like some, you know, sometimes you rewatch yourself and you're like, you can be critical of yourself. And when you edit your videos, you hear yourself. So I have verbal tics. I say the word like more often than I would like to. I'll be saying like, I'll be trying to think of something and I'll be thinking like, what's the right like word to use for, you know, and then I rewatch it. I'm like, why do I sound like a 15-year-old girl? This is embarrassing, you know? And it's just like, you know, and sometimes I'll try to edit that out. When I'm making my more professional videos, I'll edit those words out that I don't enjoy hearing, and I will cover it with some B-roll. But in some sense, that's a dangerous path to go down, because if you're trying to cover your imperfections too much and make everything too polished, first of all, it's going to take you ages to finish a video. And second of all, in some sense, it might actually be those things that you're covering that makes people relate to you, that makes you feel real. Part of YouTube that is not talked about as much. What's actually more important than these silly cameras that we waste all our money on is how real you're willing to be. How much of your soul you're willing to bear, you know, because some of my most popular videos ever have been like deeply personal or vulnerable in some sense. You know, I did a video years ago talking about an experience I had in India and the challenges I was faced with traveling through India. And again, it wasn't, I mean, I wasn't filmed on my phone, but it was filmed very simply. I was just sitting in a chair. It was filmed in India, and there's always noise in the background. There were like honking trucks and stuff in the background. It was very sunny, so like the lighting wasn't great. But none of that mattered, because I just had something to say. I had a message to share. I had a reason I was sitting down and speaking. And I think that video that might have been my first video to ever break 1 million views, ever. And there was a video I almost didn't publish because I was like, this is a bit too much. Usually I was making travel videos, like nice footage, and you know, this one I was like, there's no nice footage. It's just me. Who wants to just hear me, you know? Turns out over 1 million people. Which is wild when you think, like traditional television, their numbers are so low. Like even a CNN broadcast, like one of those like news shows that they're spending millions of dollars on, might not even get 1 million viewers on a given night. And one person sitting in a chair on a rooftop in India can just put something out there and reach 1 million people. So that's pretty cool. But the dark side is, you spend all this time, all this effort getting the attention. When you actually get it, are you ready for it? When those thousands of comments roll in and people are criticizing things you said, ways you look, heaven forbid, if you're a woman or something, or you're overweight or whatever, like the woman's gonna be sexualized whether she wants to be or not. The overweight person's gonna have these trolls calling them fat or making fun of something about the way they look. And sometimes that's the cost of admission to YouTube. You need to be willing to receive strangers judging you and criticizing you and also praising you and also saying, oh, you're so thoughtful. Oh, you're such an inspiration. Oh, blah, 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 and the first couple times you get a comment like that, it's nice. It's like, oh, this is nice. I need my motivation. But once you get a bit of motivation, you should actually stop. It's tricky. I won't say you should stop reading the comments, because it's still good to read the comments and to show viewers you care. But if you can not let it affect your mood, that would be ideal. You don't want to let the hater comments destroy you too much that you're too embarrassed to post anymore, because that's sad. If you stop doing something that you like because other people don't like it, that's a really sad way to live your life. But on the other hand, if you let it inflate your ego too much, and then you're a Kanye West person going around being like, I am Pablo Picasso, I am God, I am Jesus, then you're just, well, the sad thing is YouTube often promotes people like that. And so you see these narcissistic douchebags get a lot of attention, but half the people watching them are just watching out of, it's like hate watching. You're watching because you can't look away. It's like a car crash, right? You can't look away from a car crash. Even if you're like, oh, I don't want to look, you always take a peek. So these awful people get all this attention because people can't look away. Whereas people who try to be more reasonable often don't get the clicks. And so you're incentivized, especially when you're a full-time YouTuber, you're incentivized to make things more extreme, right? And it's just because if you do it once, right? Even the title of this video, I could have just called this sitting here having a coffee talking about the pros and cons of being a YouTuber, and no one would click. A few of my subscribers would see it, but if by any chance you're not a subscriber and you landed on this video, that's because I called it the dark side of being a YouTuber, or whatever I call it, something like that. Something that will get people emotionally hooked. And maybe I could have gone further, maybe I could have called it something like, YouTube destroyed my life, and do a face, And then you click and it's just me like, hey guys, actually I didn't destroy my life. I'm just gonna talk to you about, what's funny? I literally just got a message saying my iPhone was out of storage. So it stopped the clip I was recording. And here I was using my phone because I thought it'd be easier than having to set up the bigger gear, Just goes to show you technical problems. God, that's another problem with being a YouTuber. Sooner or later, you're gonna have not something like that where that was a bit awkward because I had to delete footage and start again, and I've kind of lost my train of thought, but sooner or later, you're gonna have Like one of these cards is going to corrupt with like the best video you've ever filmed, or you're going to think you had transferred the footage all to your laptop and you're going to reset this on your phone, on your camera or something, and delete accidentally like 2 weeks of footage. Happens to everyone. The only way you can avoid that is by having it happen once. It's kind of like getting your heart broken. You're gonna get your YouTube heart broken by accidentally losing something very dear to you, and because of that, you're gonna learn to like instantly back up everything twice, or like you need to have some workflow to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it'll probably still happen again because filming stuff is just hard, you know? It's technically hard. It's emotionally hard in the sense of like you need to be, if you're in a bad mood, like it shows. Like people will be like, oh, Dan looks grumpy today, or Dan looks sleepy today, or why do you look so sad? Like you need to be, hey guys, what's up? We're here on YouTube and we're gonna go make some fun travel videos today, right? So sometimes you fake it. Sometimes even when you're feeling bad inside, you project some false positivity, and that's not healthy either, because you become, it literally just happened again. Even though I deleted like 10 gigs of footage, it just told me it was full again. So I feel like the universe is telling me to wrap up this video, or at least my iPhone is. So I'm going to leave you with a couple thoughts. The main thing I want to communicate is that being a YouTuber is hard in the sense of it's a very lonely journey that few people can relate to. And if you ever complain about this journey, you have people who work those traditional jobs, which I try to remind myself of. And I was talking about at the beginning, telling you like, hey, like, you know, stop complaining. You have nothing to complain about, right? And it can be, you start to question if you do have anything to complain about, if it's just all in your head. And so many of the problems YouTubers have are in your head. It's about self-doubt. It's about insecurity. It's about comparison, you know, like whatever your job is, you probably don't have a view counter and a like counter and a number of comments like on your job, right? You don't have hundreds of strangers every day just telling you what they like and what they don't like about you and your job and your way of being. And so ultimately, I think this makes a lot of people kind of inauthentic. A lot of YouTubers will create a character that they present to the world, you know? And then psychologically, it's like if I create a character or I play a role and then myself is offline, right? If I make someone different, and then it's like, it's a way to protect yourself, because all those hate comments, they're not hitting you, they're hitting that character. It's like, well, that's not the real Dan Weinberg, that's the internet one. But if you actually show yourself, if you actually show your soul and bear it online, it's like you're taking your armor off and you're letting those arrows hit you. And they will hit you. They will hit you in the form of negative comments. They will hit you in the form of self-doubt. They will hit you. I remember early on, I had someone, I can't call him a friend exactly, but he was one of those people who I met while traveling. A Brazilian guy. And I met him in the south of France, I think. There was a little friend group that had formed, and so, you know, we exchanged contacts. And I was so new to YouTube back then. I was like in my first year making videos. I wasn't really good, but I liked what I was doing. And I remember him out of nowhere, like telling me that he thought my videos were boring and I should get a drone or do something more exciting. And he was saying like, there's all these exciting travel channels, like you should be more like this. And I remember feeling like, I mean, I still remember that comment years later because it was so, you know, there's constructive feedback, and then there's like the stuff that's just like meant to put someone down and to keep them from expressing themselves. Like it wasn't like he was just insulting me. It was said in a way that it was like on the surface it was nice, but underneath it was like all this message of like, Dan, like you're weird. Like no one wants to see this. Stop doing this. Stop trying to be authentic storyteller and be more like all these others. Yeah. Don't talk to us about your thoughts. Show us just pretty girls in bikinis and drone shots of like waterfalls and the other travel stuff, you know. That's what this guy wanted me to do. And I didn't do that. And because I didn't do that, and I continued to not do that, and I continue to put out videos like this, and I continue to not really care if this video gets 100 views or 100,000 views, I will be the same person. I will strive to be the same person. But in some sense, I'm losing that person because on my bigger channel, I can't talk this honestly anymore. I try to, sometimes I try to. But the spotlight, the fact that all these strangers are watching, it makes me, in subtle ways, change who I am. Or it makes me, I just feel like, these people, they don't want to see the weird Dan. They want to see me walking around cities showing something. Maybe without even meaning to, I did follow the advice of that annoying Brazilian guy who wanted me to change. Death by 1,000 cuts, 1,000 little changes, and then you don't even know who you are anymore. YouTube is freedom, and freedom can be a scary thing, you know. When I was 17 years old delivering pizzas, I knew I had a bad job, and I knew my boss was kind of annoying, and I knew that we didn't have the greatest pizzas ever. So if I failed, if I was a little bit late delivering my pizzas or I didn't get a tip or whatever, I could blame the kitchen who made a bad pizza. I could blame my boss who was kind of annoying and gave me this annoying route that I had to deliver. I could blame everyone but myself. But when you have your own channel and you're doing it yourself and you fail, it's like you fully try your hardest and you still fail. There's no one left to blame but yourself. And so some of us never try. Some of us aren't willing to pay the cost of fully failing at something publicly in front of the internet, in front of strangers, because that would be too much to bear. To show your soul that much would be, that would be a lot. But if you are willing to pay that cost of admission, you might find yourself in a situation where you get a job that your 17-year-old self never could have imagined. And what an interesting journey that would be. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.